side, ref!
Welcome back to In From The Side on the Real Rugby channel here on YouTube. It's been 2 weeks. Sorry, we took last week off, but we are back with another show. I'm here with my co-host, Matthew Rhodes. Matt,
How's it,
welcome
bud?
back. Yeah, good to see you.
Thanks, man. Like you said, we were away last week, but we're back in action now.
Yeah, life got in the way. It happens. But we are doing 2 shows this week. So stay tuned.
Correct.
Later in the week, we'll publish our second episode. Now, 2 weeks ago, we promised the audience out there something new. But then someone raised I think Justin, if you're watching, thank you so much for the recommendation.
Yeah.
He said we can't go through all the Six Nations teams and not pick a British Lions team. And he's right. So
Of the
pro era. Same format that we did the last couple of weeks, we're going to do today. So we're not quite yet done. We're going to do this one, and then you'll see what we have in store for the next one. We're going to pick 2 more fantasy teams, and then I promise you, we're done.
We're done and dusted.
It's the ABF, the absolute bloody final.
The absolute bloody final, before the final.
Before the final. The penultimate.
Yeah, no,
team
Justin
selection.
was right. He said that we had robbed our viewers, our audience of the Lions, and so we're going to get stuck in today.
So I'm very curious. So we did chat a little bit before the show. I don't really know who Matt picked. The way we thought about this is, yes, we've picked our greatest Irish, English, Scottish, Welsh teams of the professional era, but being a great player in your team doesn't necessarily mean you were a great Lion, right? And we were specifically looking at Lions tours from 1997 until 2021, right? All Lions tours in the pro era and who those great players were. So I'm raring to go. I'm very keen to see what surprises you're going to spring. You did say that you think you're going to get some stick.
Yeah, no, we're always going to get some stick. And on the premise that you just described, where, playing for the Lions versus playing for your nation, it was tough. There were some names that are ultimately going to get left out because they are sensational in their own right, but maybe they didn't shine as much for the Lions. And I think there's 1 or 2 that maybe have slipped through the nets that I've included in my team at least, who I took on name and reputation rather than maybe what and how they perform for the Lions. So,
well, that's why we're here.
Correct.
So we can debate, and I'm sure the folks at home will leave their comments in the comment section and tell us how wrong we are, as they always do. Except for the Scottish fans. They didn't really pitch for the last video.
Yeah.
But we'll see if the Irish and the Welsh and the English fans have something to say.
And the Scottish fans that did go and watch our video were very complimentary. They said that they were very happy with our choices, so we'll take it.
Okay, well, let's see if the greater United Kingdom and Ireland agrees with us. Let's get into it, man.
Nice
Fullback. We start with the back 3 as always. Who did you have at fullback and wings?
I got to say that the whole selection process was hard. But so I went Lee Halfpenny at 15, Tommy Bowe on my one wing, and then I went with Jason Robinson on the other wing.
Okay.
So I know Jason Robinson played fullback a lot, but
played wing for the Lions, mate.
Played wing for the Lions and played bloody well. So, Jason Robinson, game-breaking speedster. He scored, I think, a try in the 2001 series as well.
In the first test and the first touch of the ball,
amazing,
he was unreal. He stepped Latham on the outside like he wasn't even there.
Yeah.
So we know which highlight I'm going to show.
Yeah, for sure. And he was a standout character in 2005 as well.
Yeah, great player.
So he had to go in there. Lee Halfpenny, for me, defensive rock, world-class goal kicker. He did 3 tours as well, 09, 13 and 17. And he was the 2013 player of the series as well. So at fullback, there were other options, Hogg, Carney. There might be a few people. I was speaking to a Scottish lad this week who said, I have to have Gavin Hastings in there. Obviously, he's ineligible because of the time frame.
Yeah.
But for me, I thought Lee Halfpenny deserved his shout.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tommy Bowe, an interesting one because even when I picked him for the Irish team, he was in my selection. Some of the Irish fans were like, really? But for the Lions, he's electric finisher. He was key in 09 and the 2013 tours. He had some crucial tackles, man. A couple of try-saving tackles, I think. He had wheels, super, super fast, and he scored 1 or 2 good tries too. So he got my nod.
He was great. And Tommy Bowe, I mean, he was around for about 5 years before he made the Lions, but I think that 09 Lions tour made people, specifically in the Southern Hemisphere, take notice of him.
'Cause
Like, he's been around, but I don't think people really rated him until that tour. People are like, okay, this boy can play.
100%. He stood up. He had his debut in 2004.
Yeah.
And then, 5 years of just being Tommy Bow. And then that 09 series was just like unbelievable. So, and that's really where he put his mark on it. And I think because of that, he's got an indelible mark on the Lions. And so he warrants his spot.
Yeah, great selection.
Who'd you go?
Mine looks a little bit different.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie. And I think every week we agree on so many positions. I think we're going to differ a lot in the Lions.
Lekker.
Hear me out on fullback, Matt, because you need to hear me out. I did not pick Lee Halfpenny. He was my first choice. When I initially thought about it, I'm like, it's got to be Halfpenny. He was so good against Australia in 2013.
2013, man.
He originally was in the mix in 2009, then got injured, but then later in the tour got called up again. Never played in a test. So yes, technically he went on tour, but he didn't really feature in 09. And similarly in 2017, he was around, but he wasn't he benched the first test and that's it. So he only really had 2013 to go on. I picked Liam Williams at fullback. And here's my reasoning. So I broke it down by tour. And a lot of the players that I picked as I looked at successful tours. Like if you won a series in South Africa, you won a series in Australia, and you drew with New Zealand in 2017, then you probably would get the nod on 50-50 calls. Liam Williams played in 2 tests that they won. They won one in New Zealand. He drew one in New Zealand, then he won one in South Africa when he benched. Lee Halfpenny won 2 tests in Australia. Okay, and it doesn't come down to one player. It's a team game. I just felt that having success in New Zealand, I think, is probably a little bit more impressive than having success in Australia. I don't think in 2013 that was the best Australian side. Nothing really between the players. I liked Liam Williams' counter-attacking play. I remember that try Sean O'Brien scored against New Zealand. He was fantastic. So I really rated him on that tour. Could have been Halfpenny, gives you a kicking option. Great under the high ball, great counter-attacker. I like Liam Williams.
Fair enough.
So I picked him. So I traded one Welshman for another. At wing, I did go Jason Robinson, literally just for that first test against Australia in 01. No, it's more than that. He went on 2 tours, played a couple of tests for the Lions. He's an absolute legend. I mean, it was in his first year in professional rugby, he made his debut. He became a Lion out of nowhere, and he was amazing. So I can't fault you there. And on the other wing, I went George North.
Okay.
And I was specifically, now I'm going against what I just said about Liam Williams, because on that 2013 tour in Australia, George North was unplayable. I remember that try he scored. We showed it in the Wales team we picked, where just he stepped inside, he ran around Genia, scored in the corner, pretty much ran from his own 10 meter, and then that when he picked up Folau, when Folau tried to the fireman's
left.
Exactly. Folau tried to tackle him. He lifted him up and carried him back 5 meters. So George North was in his prime in 2013. Did go in 2017. He's been on 3 tours, I think, but just played in 3 tests.
Yeah.
But again, 2013.
Yeah,
it was really difficult for wing, because there's no real winger that played in 2 or 3 tours and dominated the wing jerseys. Like every tour, there was different wings playing. But I think for me, George North, Jason Robinson,
it's a fair combo. It's a fair shout, and I had Liam Williams as well as one of my considerations for fullback. The reason I didn't pick him and I went Lee Halfpenny is because I had picked Lee Halfpenny as my pro era best 15 for Wales, and so it's hard for me to pick him for Wales and not pick him for Lions.
Fair enough.
Especially when he got the 2013 Player of the Series.
Yeah, fair enough. Was it not Jamie Roberts? Jamie Roberts was 09. Sorry, you're right. It was Halfpenny.
So again, Liam Williams also amazing under the high ball, but I think put the 2 of them together, it's that one other element, that long range boot of Halfpenny. I think it gives you just another element. So, but I can't fault you, brother.
Yeah, great back 3.
I'm interested to see how we go in the centers, because this was difficult. There's so many amazing centers.
I just said that I picked Jason Robinson based on that 2001 tour. Mm-hmm. I picked Brian O'Driscoll for exactly the same reason. So Brian O'Driscoll was a great Lion. Right? He went on 4 tours. He was captain in 1. But again, if you look at his performances, he played 2 tests in 2013, got dropped for Jonathan Davies. 2005, he got injured in the first test out for the tour. Hardly played any Test rugby on that tour. He was decent in 2009, really physical. I remember a collision with Donnie Rousseau that they just smashed into each other, and I think Donnie came off second best, so he was really good. But that 2001 tour, where he came on the scene, I mean, he played international rugby for 2 seasons before that, but that try he scored in the first test at the Gabba, where he just stepped inside, was it Burke or Latham? I can't remember.
That was beautiful.
It was still probably the best try I've seen in a Lions jersey. So for me, just based on the 2001 and 2009 tours, it's got to be O'Driscoll. Inside centre is going to be interesting. I had Farrell at one point. I thought, okay Owen Farrell.
Because you had him at 12.
Yeah, and you know what? I do like him at 12.
In the England team, I think you picked him there.
He might be a sleeper for this 2025 tour. We'll see if his dad picks him. But at 12, I went a little bit left field. I went Jeremy Guscott.
Okay.
So yes,
great player.
Yes, we're going pro era
not left
only.
field at all.
Yes, we're going pro era only, which he did play one tour. He played 2 tests. He was instrumental in that 97 win. Kicked the winning drop goal in 97.
I know.
He scored the winning try against Australia in 89.
You always got to bring up that drop kick. I don't understand why. It hurts still.
Yeah,
you brought it up like 3 times in 3 different shows. 3 different shows.
I didn't bring up Japan or Italy, so we can talk about O'Driscoll's drop.
No.
Sorry, Guscott's drop.
Guscott's drop.
Yes, he went on 3 tours. 2 of them were in the amateur era, but what he also achieved on those tours, he was great in New Zealand in 93. He was probably even better against Australia in 89. For me, just an all-time legend. He embodies everything that the Lions jersey stands for. I had a couple of other contenders that I looked at. Jamie Roberts was one. Player of the tour in 09. Scott Gibbs in 97. We've spoken about him before, how he bumped Ors. He was immense, although he played outside. There's so many guys that you could have picked from. Jonathan Davies, Owen Farrell. But yeah, I just think, if you have Guscott and O'Driscoll, you're going to cut any backline to pieces.
Fair.
Good luck defending against those guys.
Yeah, fair. So Brian O'Driscoll for me was first name on the sheet. Like, again, there's only 4 players, I think, that have ever gone on 4 Lions tours. And he's one of them, as you said. Easy selection at 13 for me. For me, the greatest Lions centre. So that wasn't difficult. It was finding the pairing alongside him. Jonathan Davies was decent shout. Jamie Roberts also, because again, player of the series, both of them in different series. Will Greenwood, Robbie Henshaw, these are really good centres. But for me,
but they never. I mean, Will Greenwood only played 2 tests against New Zealand in 05. Horrible tour. Robbie Henshaw hasn't played a test. So it does make it easy if you look at that.
So for me, I went Scott Gibbs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I like it, dude.
So 97 player of the
I like
series, devastating ball carrier and tackler. For what you mentioned as well, he put a stamp, in my mind at least, he put a stamp on that position because of that tour.
Yeah.
And I know that, again, in the same sort of light as how you've picked Jason Robertson for that one tour, albeit that he went on multiple, Scott Gibbs was he was a force.
Powerhouse.
And so I think Jeremy Guscott is a great shout because of that longevity. And as you say, he embodies everything Lions. But for me, I would have just loved to see that combination. Scott Gibbs at 12.
I like it.
And Brian O'Driscoll. Silky Brian O'Driscoll with Gibbs smashing everyone.
I like it. And he qualifies because he played outside centre in the first 2 tests, played inside centre in the last test. So there you go. He's interchangeable and he can cover both.
Fastest prop in world rugby.
Fastest prop in world rugby, mate. Still the only guy that I've ever seen bump Oosterhout. Honestly, and he will, remain famous just for that. That and the try he scored against England in 99.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But also, Scott Gibbs toured New Zealand in 93. Then went to play league a bit, came back,
and then
played against the Box. Unbelievable.
Yeah, so again, I think it came down for me also between Guscott and Gibbs. Both of them were sensational on that 97 tour. But when you consider Scott Gibbs got the player of the series, I know Guscott went on to play additional Lions thereafter. And so the longevity maybe outweighs, but I thought he was sensational.
Okay, Flyve's going to be a painful one for me to say, but I'm keen to see who you picked in the halves.
Halfback, so for me it had to be Johnny Wilkinson.
Why?
Best tactical kicker and defensively best defensive fly-off in a Lions shirt. I think he was outstanding in a Lions shirt. So I thought he was sensational, and so he got my vote. And then for 9, I went Mike Phillips. So Mike Phillips, physically dominant, key in 09 and 13. And yeah, those are my 2 selections. I'm keen to hear what you're going to say.
Totally different. But why do you have to come with just like logical thinking and no stats? You're supposed to be the one with you scored this many points and this many games. Now you're just like, no, I like Johnny Wilkinson, and that's why I picked him.
Because I can, and cheers to that.
I didn't pick Wilkinson. I had him. You know why, man?
You've gone Sexton.
I've gone Sexton.
Yeah.
And it fucking irritates me. It irritates me because on any given day, if you ask me who my 3 favorite fly-offs of all time is, Dan Carter, Johnny Wilkinson, Nas Buerta in no particular order, right? Like Wilkinson is a hero of mine. I love the guy. But I looked at stats. Johnny played 5 tests for the Lions. He's won 1. And I know it's not a one-man show. He was great in 01. He was okay in 2005. Played centre in the first test. But then you look at Sexton's record. Sexton went on 2 tours. He's won 3 tests, drew 1, and lost 2. He's just, when he was in that pivot position, they got results. And if I remember correctly, against New Zealand, they started with Farrell in the first test. They didn't start with Sexton. They got smashed by the All Blacks. They picked Sexton in the second test and moved Farrell to centre, and they beat them. So I'm not saying it's down to Johnny, but he's got a way of marshalling a team and directing a team and calling the shots that brings results.
So I think one of the things to consider here is not only the results in a Lions shirt. I know that we were talking about how this, we've got to factor in guys who did really well for the Lions, and maybe they didn't do so great for their own home nation, or they did, but they excelled in a Lions shirt, and vice versa. I think the reality is, for me, you got to look at the overall player. So it's not in consideration, but Johnny's won a World Cup. And
That's not in consideration. The Lions don't play in a World Cup.
I know they don't, but we're talking about the fantasy Lions team. And if I'm looking at my 10 on any given day, I'd go Johnny over Johnny Wilkinson.
Johnny over Johnny.
Johnny over Johnny. And
are you playing it safe?
Well,
with 2 Johnnies.
Yeah, the 2 Johnnies. And fair play. That's a bloody good band. I know if you haven't heard them, they got a podcast as well. The 2 Johnnies out of Ireland. Go and listen to them. But no, man. I think Wilkinson was just stand out for me. And if push came to shove, if I'm picking my fantasy team, come game day, I'd go Johnny over Johnny. Sorry.
No, I mean, you've got your criteria. I was under the impression we were only looking at Lions tours, but now you're taking all these peripheral variables into account. It's fine. Can I just say categorically, people need to understand that Johnny Wilkinson was a way better fly-off than Johnny Sexton. I want that on record, Matt.
But you've picked Johnny Sexton.
But on Lions tours, and in terms of what they've achieved as Lions, outside of their national teams, Sexton's achieved more. That's just a fact. Fair
play. But can we just consider, if you were given the opportunity to pick your ideal team, game day, it's New Zealand, and you had a selection of all these players at their peak.
I'd pick Barry John or Phil Bennett.
Pro era. We're talking pro era. Come on. You've got the pick of the bunch to pick your best team, to wear a Lions shirt, to send them on the day. You've got to consider that there's a lot of the time there's going to be players outside them that maybe on the day aren't as good as the players that maybe other Johnny had around them. You've got to consider the opposition they came up against is maybe better or worse.
That I will say.
Yeah.
And that I'll admit. Johnny Wilkinson played against 2 better Australian and New Zealand sides than Johnny Sexton did.
Correct.
The Australian side in 2001 were world champions. They won the Tri-Nations. They were Bledisloe Cup holders. They were in their golden era. The last team to win the Bledisloe Cup. And okay, they lost the series, but it was close. Could have gone either way, and they were very dominant in the first test. That 05 All Black team was unplayable.
Yeah,
like they were never going to lose that series. Doesn't matter who the Lions picked. Sexton, I think in 2013, under Ewan McKenzie, was it Robbie Deans still? Was it Ewan McKenzie? It was Robbie Deans. That was his last tour with Australia. They were poor. They weren't good, mate. And in 2017, I think we've already seen I don't want to say the decline of the All Blacks because they're a quality side, but they weren't that force of 2010 to 2016.
Yeah.
Right. So there's
been a shift.
I think there's an argument for that.
Yeah.
But,
so that's why I went with why.
Can we delete this and do this over again?
No.
I'm going to stick with Sexton.
Nice,
Let's hear
good
what
on
the
you.
people say in the comment section. I'm not yet to be convinced. I'm yet to debate.
He is a sensational player in his own right.
Yeah.
And just. And then,
Okay, can we move on to scrum off?
Sure.
At scrum off, I did not go Mike Phillips.
Okay.
I went Matt Dawson.
Fair. So he was my other option.
Played more tests. Went on 3 tours. Won 2 tests in 97. I vividly remember dummying Gary Teichmann. Mate, Gary's still buying that dummy. He's still running up the sides of Newlands. He dummied him, scored in the corner. That was the turning point that won the first test for the Lions. He was good that entire series. Everyone thought Rob Howley was going to play. Rob Howley got injured. Matt Dawson got an opportunity, played in all 3 tests. Played in all 3 tests, although from the bench in 01. Kicked a winning kick against, was it Australia A or the Brumbies? So, he
played well midweek.
Yeah, absolutely. And then went on the 05 tour. And again, World Cup winner, Matt, outside of the Lions. No, I had to make space for Matt Dawson. He was a champion. He was a great player. We're going to get to Mike Phillips. He does feature somewhere else. But other notable names, Conor Murray, Austin Healy in 97-01 was great. He was great off the bench. Like, he gave you versatility. He could play scrum off, fly off, wing. I know he irritates people, but I quite like him. Dwayne Peel. There's a couple of other guys that played.
And at 10, you got Johnny Sexton, Neil Jenkins, Ronan O'Gara as well.
We didn't even speak about Raj.
Yeah.
What a legend.
Dan Bigger as well. Yeah, 2 good tours. Decent, but again, not at the level of
Not at that level.
Not at the
Gregor
2 Johnnies.
Townsend, mate, played 2 tests at fly off in 97, won both tests.
Yeah, fair.
So he's got a 100% record in the Lions jersey. That no other player. So maybe we should have gone with him.
We should have gone with him. Righto.
Okay.
Now we get to the pack.
Jeez, we're going to have to edit the halfback section because they were long.
Yeah. So, Lucy's, who'd you go?
It was difficult. I really wanted to go with Scott Quinnell because we spoke about him when we picked the Wales side. I just love the man. Like a ball-carrying powerhouse. And he was so good in 01. Played a pivotal role in that side. They didn't win the series, though. Then I thought Jack Conan was good in 21. Jamie Heaslip, decent player in 09. Tim Rodber played 2 tests against South Africa in 97 at 8. Won both at number 8. He was in with a shout. But ultimately, I went with Talupi Faletau.
Okay.
Played 5 tests across 2 tours. Did he go on 2 tours? 3 tours. He went on 3 tours, I think. And 1, 2, 4. He played 4 tests. 1, 2, drew 1. Scored a try against the All Blacks in 2017. I just think for a very, very long time. Yeah, he went on 3 tours. He played one off the bench in 2021. I think Faletau, it was between him and Heaslip for me, ultimately. But I went with Talupe. And then
Toby.
on the flanks, I went Richard Hill, had to. I mean, how do you not, Matt, if you didn't pick Richard Hill for the Lions? I mean, he played 6 tests, he won half of them. Won a series in South Africa. Won that first test against Australia in 01, playing open side. He was fantastic. Yeah, he played open side, but he also played blind side in the 01 tour. So I picked him at blind side because at open side I went Sam Warburton. Captain on 2 tours, very successful in 2013. Drawn series against the All Blacks in 2017. And if I remember correctly, in 2017 he didn't play the first test, which they lost, came back, played the second test, they won it. So again, he had a big impact on that team. So I went Faletau, Warburton, Richard Hill.
So I did pick Richard Hill.
Good.
And I did pick Sam Warburton for all those reasons you just described. On 8, I went Delalio. So I know that he didn't have a long time. We talked about this off air. This is one of the things that you were debating. But for me, in that 1997 series, he was immense. Both I think he played both eighth man and flank.
He did. He played number 8 in one test, and it was the test they lost.
Yeah.
The other 2 games he played blindside.
He's just a man mountain. He's a legend of the game. And I think he's another one like Gusket who embodies what sort of the Lions represents. And so for me, I hear your argument. He might have been one of those ones that has slipped through the net from a international Lions perspective, where I've maybe considered more about what he's done sort of broadly in the game and at international level. But I couldn't leave him out of my team.
You know what? This every week we do this, and you come with your stats. I know this player has this many tests, he scored this many points, scored this many tries. This week I thought, I'm going to break it down by 2. I'm going to look at who, how many games did they play, how many games did they win, who was the most successful.
So I made you do work, and then I've just gone.
No, and you're like, no, Delaney's just a better player. That's it, and that's how I picked it. And it pisses me off because he is a better player than Faletau. Again, in a Lions jersey, the argument is Faletau achieved more. Yeah. Because Delalio got injured in 01, got injured in 05, but he was monumental in 97. A key figure in winning that side, albeit he'd only played one test at number 8. And I'm questioning myself. Like, I'm going to stick with Sexton. But now I'm really wondering, Delalio...
He's a great shot.
Oh, he was the man, actually.
You know what? Richard Hill, the silent assassin, also key in that 1997 triumph. And Warburton, inspirational captain, 2013 and 17, like you said. Breakdown specialist, defensive rock, all the things you want in a specialist flanker. But some amazing, huge names to leave out. For me, Scott Quinnell, as you said, Jamie Heaslip as well. And then for the flankers, Sean O'Brien, Neil Back, Martin Williams.
Williams, Lions legend.
Mate, unbelievable.
Went on 3 tours. He benched 7 games.
Yeah.
And then started his very last test he ever played for the Lions in 09. What a legend of the game.
Yeah,
Tom Croft, how good was he
in
09?
Stephen Ferris as well. Unfortunate that the injuries kind of hindered him. David Wallace as well. And then Peter O'Mahony. These are some outstanding names. But I think, those 4 characters. Toby Faletau in his own right is sensational. He's had some great runs. I love that smile.
Screw you with your logic. Like, I'm just not going to worry about stats. We just pick the better player.
Just pick the better player. The guy that I want in my fantasy team. Right, Locks. Who'd you go with?
I'm still stuck on the Lucy's. Delalio is better. You're right. Locks, mate. I had to go Martin Johnson. I know the other one was really debatable. And we're probably going to differ. But Martin Johnson, for me, captain on 2 tours, played 6 tests, won half of them, won a series in South Africa. I mean, he's
my
like
captain.
in the same echelon as a Willie John McBride. When you talk about the history of the Lions, he's up there.
Yeah.
Like he's also the captain of this team for me. Unquestionable. Legend of the game, World Cup winner, the first player to captain 2 back-to-back Lions tours, I think. He was the first one to do that. I don't know. There's not enough. Not a great coach, but an amazing player.
Good pundit too.
Just a rock. And next to him, it was a debate between Paul O'Connell, Alan Wynne-Jones. I went Alan Wynne-Jones. Again, if you look at his win record and number of tests that he's played, he went on 4 Lions tours, played more games. You mentioned only one of 4 players to go on 4 tours or more. Paul O'Connell, difficult to leave out. He went on 3 tours, only won 2 tests. Won the last one against South Africa, which was a bit of a dead rubber. South Africa already won the series. Won the first test against Australia, then got injured. But Alan Wynne-Jones had a bit more longevity. Came back from injury in 2021, which no one thought he would. Miraculously recovered. Went on that tour. I went Martin Johnson, Alan Wynne-Jones.
You get no pushback from me. I went with the same.
Cool.
And Martin Johnson's my captain for the same reason.
Cool. So, stats meet the logic.
The stats meet the logic. Like I said, Alan Wynne-Jones, one of only 4 to go on 4 tours, and most capped player of all time. Like, just imagine those 2 as a lock pairing.
Unreal.
Like, Martin Johnson is just a dominant force. He's an absolute bruiser. And you've talked about it before. There's a couple of games where he just literally pulled his team, from, like as a leader does, running into brick walls as the general and follow me into battle boys, right? And it's the kind of leader that you want. There's some other leaders across this team. O'Driscoll's one, Warburton's another, Alan Wynne-Jones is another. But I think Martin Johnson's the type of character who would lead a Lions team and people would, fall in line.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And then Alan Wynne-Jones, silky skills, longevity, good head on him. Like from a leadership perspective as well, you want that seniority around. It'd be tough to pick anyone else. And Paul O'Connell is very hard to leave off that team.
Very difficult to leave him out.
Very difficult.
To a captain in 09, so it's really difficult to leave him out.
So
you got three tour captains vying for two positions. That's really difficult.
Mara Toje, Courtney Laws, Donica O'Callaghan, Simon Shaw as well. Also,
Simon Shaw's a Lions legend.
Mate, unbelievable.
I said it when we spoke about the England team. Like, he had an up and down, was in and out of the England team. He played over 70 tests, but for the Lions, somehow, every year he gets picked for the Lions and then he plays in the test and he just plays a stormer. He was legend.
If you go back and look at the England team, I picked him in my team.
I remember.
And it's because he's just got this image. And when I think of Simon Shaw, I think of him standing on the battlefield in like a Braveheart scene, wielding like 2 axes in each hand. Like he's just a force of nature. And so, but as you said, was great for England. He was sensational for the Lions.
Sensational for the Lions. Yeah. Absolute Lions legend.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Okay.
No debate there.
Cool. Let's round out the tight 5. Who did you go with the heavies in the front row?
So this is interesting because I went Tad Furlong. And I think I picked him on my bench in the Irish team, if I remember back. But anyway, Tad Furlong.
Picking a Lions team, Matt.
I know, but I'm saying I picked him on the bench in the Irish team, and yet the reason I picked him starting here is he is a Lions legend.
Lions legend.
Best scrummager and ball playing. His handling skills are unbelievable, and he seems to shine when he puts on that red jersey.
Yeah.
So like. He had to be my pick at 3. Keith Wood at 2. Couldn't. And again, Keith Wood was not a starter in the Irish team for me. I went Rory Best, and my logic at the time was I want to bring Keith Wood off because he's more of an impact player. But I think in the Lions jersey, unbelievable, dynamic leader, Kian 97 and an 01, and then the other prop. Could not leave out Jason Leonard.
Jason Leonard, interesting.
Yeah. Jason Leonard, Rugby World Cup winner, obviously himself. He's an all-time Lions legend, dude. 3 Lions tours. So 93, which is obviously before pro era, but 97 and 01. World Rugby Hall of Famer. He was chairman of the Lions from 2019 to 2022. You talk about embodiment of the Lions. Jason Leonard's your man. So I think hard pressed to find someone who's going to take that starting position away from him.
Oh, I found him.
Okay.
The man who started ahead of him in 97. That's who I picked.
Go on.
Tom Smith. All the way.
So
Jason Leonard was on the bench in 97, on the bench in 01. Lions legend, went on those tours, never started a test. Tom Smith played 6 tests.
Back to back as well.
He played 6 tests in a row on 2 tours, won half of them. Beat South Africa. He dominated. We mentioned it last time. Showed Adrian Garvey a thing or two in the scrum. An enforcer at loose head. So I get all your reasoning behind Jason Leonard. I think he's a great player. I think this one you might have beaten me on Wilkinson and Delalio. I think I might have you at loose head.
I had Tom Smith as a loose head. I mean, and also there's not a lot of Scottish representation through my team and or yours so far.
No.
And I was looking at him and I'm like, it'd be nice to include him, if nothing else for that reason, but take nothing away from what you just said.
Yeah.
He was outstanding.
Yeah, no, I mean, had to get some Scottish representation in there. Great scrummager. I made this comment last time we spoke about Scotland. I think he played better for the Lions than he did for Scotland.
Yeah.
Like, for me, he was a Lions legend. Very instrumental in 97. Like, when the 97 Lions went to South Africa, no one gave them a hope in hell. South Africa were world champions. We had a new coach. We were playing an exciting brand of rugby. We had a strong team. And their pack just smashed us. Like, we weren't ready for them. And Tom Smith had a big role to play in that. So, had to get him there. I went Tag Furlong. I remember that 2017 tour. Like, he just came on the scene. I think he made his debut in 2016 for Ireland. So he was fresh, so dynamic. Maybe less so in 2021, but that was a weird tour. I do expect him to be part of the mix this year.
I reckon you get the nod.
When they pick the squad.
Yeah.
So no, absolute monster of a player. It was really difficult to pick between him and Adam Jones because I did like Adam Jones. I also liked Phil Vickery, and then I remembered what Beast Tawarira did to Phil Vickery in 09. And then I'm like, okay, no, I can't pick Phil Vickery.
Shout out to Beast.
I've got to pick a prop that can scrum, so I went tag Furlong, add hooker. It's not even a debate. Keith Wood all day, every day, and twice on the weekend.
100%.
Legend, absolute legend. So good in 97, so good in 01. Like that 01 series, the Lions were in to win that series. They could have won it. The third test was really close. They won the first one by a big margin. The Aussies won the second one, and it came down to the wire. He was immense. So, yeah, happy with that. Two good front rows. I don't fault you on Jason Leonard. I just think in a Lions jersey, I think Tom Smith was magic.
And I won't debate you on that, but I think Tom Smith is a great shout. Like,
give me that one, Matt. You had me on two other positions.
Tom Smith is probably the better shout, and especially because he was starting. I really like Jason Leonard.
Okay, cool. Okay, Matt, the bench. Who's going to come on in the last 20 minutes to seal out a victory?
Let's hope I've picked enough players on the bench to see me through on this one.
Let's see if we get to 8 players on the bench.
I went with a 5-3 split.
Did you go with a 5-3? Okay.
I did. So Ken Owens to come on as my hooker replacement. He's a set piece maestro and he's a leader. Did really well 2017 and 2021. I picked your man Tom Smith to come off the bench. So that's why when you picked him as a starter, you won't get any debate from me. Great. Unsung hero in 97 and 01. Elite at the breakdown and had superb hands. So not only a fantastic scrummager, but he was really mobile. And then I couldn't leave out Adam Jones. How do you leave out Adam Jones?
No, legend, dude. Legend. And he'll make an impact off the bench.
Correct. Scrummaging rock, great in 09 and 2013. And then we talked about him earlier, and there's no way. I mean, like, sure, you've got Martin Johnson, you've got Alwyn Jones, Paul O'Connell comes off the bench for me.
Has to be there.
Yeah. Line-out specialist, iconic second rower, 3 tours, sensational. And to finish off my forward pack off the bench is Shawnee O'Brien.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sean O'Brien gives you cover at 7 and 8.
Yeah. Also, I think a couple of tours, 5 or 6 starts, like he was sensational. So
Great player,
great impact player. For my 9 replacement, I went Matt Dawson. Again, you had him on the bench. On starts, I have him on the bench. Try scorer in 97, great try. 3 tours, tactical genius. And then George North comes off the bench for me.
Okay.
So again, physical powerhouse, explosive on the 2013 tour. Again, that image of him picking up Israel Folau and running. You can't leave out George North. I know you had him as a start. So, and obviously there's versatility there because he can play wing and he can play center.
Yeah.
So it gives
you cover.
Gives cover. And then I went left field, and I've got Owen Farrell coming off the bench. So Owen Farrell, his game management, his tactical nous is amazing.
His game management.
Yes.
Oh, game management. His game management.
His game management.
Okay, got it.
His tactical prowess. He's got a good rugby brain, and he was key in the 2017 series as well. He can play centre. He can cover at fly, and obviously he's got a great boot on him as well. So he rounds off my bench.
Not that left field, mate. Not that left field. I like it. I like Owen Farrell in the lineup. I went Ken Owens, backup hooker, same as you. I think he's the logical choice. He's gone on 2 tours. He played great in 2021, scored a try against the Springboks. Great at set piece, all the things that you've said. We always say this, you've got to do the basics well if you're a hooker,
basics
right?
Well.
And make sure you find your jumpers, which he does. At prop, I did go Adam Jones on tight head. I remember after Vickery got smashed against Beast, they brought on Adam Jones on the second test.
And settled it.
Suddenly they were so competitive and so physical. So he really made an impact on the Lions when he came on. At loose head, I did go Marco Vunipola.
Oh, fair.
3 tours. He's won a couple of tests. He was successful in New Zealand, successful in Australia, played in 2021. He was a starter for me and Jason Leonard wasn't really a starter. So that's why I picked him in a Lions context. At lock, I did go Paul O'Connell. Same as you, had to make space for him. He had to be part of the...
You don't leave out Paul O'Connell.
No, he had to be part of the team. Absolutely. And no one even came close. No one else came close. And then my loose forward replacement was also Sean O'Brien.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Scored a great try against the All Blacks after a Liam Williams break in that first test in 2017. But he was a menace at the breakdown, physical in the tackle, like physically dominating against the opposition. So I really like Sean O'Brien in a Lions jersey.
Hard to leave out Martin Williams to come off the bench, especially with his...
And he was so good at coming off the bench.
I know, that's what I mean.
He did it, yeah.
It was for me on my bench between Martin Williams or Sean O'Brien.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think Sean is the right call.
Sean is the right call. And I also went with a classic 5-3 split. You had Mark Phillips starting. I had Matt Dawson starting. I went with Phillips on the bench. Unlucky for a guy like Conor Murray, who's also gone on 3 tours. But again, just in terms of what these guys have achieved, like Mike Phillips, mate.
Huge impact.
In 09, you know, his little rivalry with Bucky's will go down in legend. But he was a great player, very competitive, in your face, irritating to the opposition. Everything you want to scrum off to be. Mike Phillips was, but tactically very astute.
Yeah.
I did go Owen Farrell also. So I'm on the left with you, dude, which is weird for me to say. But I picked Farrell because he gives you cover at fly-off, gives you cover in midfield. Went on 3 tours. 2 of them were fairly successful. I'm just irritated now. I don't have Johnny Wilkinson in my squad, but it's fine. I've got Farrell backing up Sexton, and then I had to make space for Jonathan Davies. So what this does is it does expose me in the back 3 because I don't have real cover on the wing or at fullback.
You do because you got Jason Robinson.
He can switch position, but if he gets injured, then I'm stuffed. But anyway, I had to make space for Jonathan Davies because he was player of the series in 2017. And he was picked ahead of Brian O'Driscoll in the last test. They smashed Australia in 2013. They won that series. Just again, legend of the game. Very successful in the Lions jersey. I loved him. I thought he was great. So I had to make space for him. I don't know what I'm going to do at outside back, but I also don't know what I'm going to do without Delalio and Wilkinson. So who knows? We'll see how this team does. That's where I ended up.
A little bit sour about that.
I'm not sour. It might just be the brandy talking.
Brandywine for the pain. Good. Mate, 2 good teams. I really, really enjoyed that. It'll be interesting to hear from the viewers out there if you think that we slid on a banana skin, if we made some good selections, if you agree or disagree, and if you do disagree, who you would suggest we should have picked instead.
Okay, but someone's got to coach this team. So, you know, if they have to go and beat New Zealand in New Zealand on a 14-match tour, who's going to coach this team to win a series 3-0?
For me, I couldn't not go Sir Ian McGeechan. Because we talked about it before, the 97 and 09 mastermind. And then for his assistant, you wouldn't like me saying this because he was head coach, but Warren Gatland. So 3-time head coach, 2013, 17, 21, also a tactical genius. I know that he's kind of had a tough year, but in this team, he gets a nod. For sure.
I went exactly the same.
Nice.
Geach as the head coach because he won the series in 97 against a very good South African side. He also won the series in 89 against Australia. People forget about that. So he was actually coach on more than 2 tours. Very successful Lions coach. A Lion himself. Warren Gatland definitely in with a shout, in contention. He was coach on 3 tours, won 1, lost 1, drew 1. So again, 50% record. As a Lions coach, I don't think people should remember him for his last year in Wales. He's a great coach and he deserves 100%. All the credit. Also, he was Ian McGeechan's understudy in 09. So he was assistant coach on one of the tours. So I don't think it's a too unfamiliar role for him. So yeah, I think those are the 2 best Lions coaches. We'll see what Andy Farrell does in 2025, which leads us to our next video, which we'll do in a short while and we'll publish later this week. But Matt, this has been great.
Nice, brother.
Thank you very much.
Good selections, my man. Well done.
Folks out there in YouTube land, if you like this content, as always, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Click the little notification button at the bottom of the video. Join the conversation. Tell us what you think.
Give us stick.
Yeah, give us stick. Tell us who would have made your all-time greatest British and Irish Lions team of the professional era. Check us out on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We're on all the social medias. Thank you so much for your support. We'll see you again later in the week. Cheers.
Cheers.